Hey guys, good evening. It's Wednesday. Wednesday the 17th, is that correct? Yes, it is. Um, this is going to be my evening edition. Let's try to get away from any cars. Anyway, there's a whole range of emotions today. I might even try to sit down here. Everything hurts me. Oh my goodness gracious. Anyway, the Dodgers are in the playoffs. In fact, I think they're playing right now. This is the Oklahoma City Dodgers. Anyway, so whole range of emotions today. Some funny stories, some goofy things. But I wanted to share with you something that I'll warn you right now. It's not gonna be the whole message, but it's not politically correct. It's a little bit off color of a joke. But one of the things I miss about is my friends, and I saw while I was walking today in the barrenness this home that had my friend's last name, and it said something about um, like bankrupt acres or something like that. Anyway, it started a whole text exchange between me and a couple of the guys that just always makes me laugh. And I'll tell you what, I'm finished. I'm going to tell a joke, but I don't want to lose you for the whole thing. So if you have any kids around or don't want to hear something a little off color, a little less politically correct, I'm warning you now. But I will do one of these when I'm done, so you can get back on with the video if you want. So anyway, we had this text exchange, and a buddy of mine said, "Hey, are you coming home soon, or are you gonna have a finish like Patrick Swayze at the end of Point Break, where he just kind of jumps off?" And I said, "No," I said, "I'll be home a week from Sunday." And I said, "I'll be coming home to no job and a pile of bills." So I asked Adam if I could give it a shot at gay prostitution, if I could borrow some of his Johns as a start. And of course, my other friend Glenn then said, he said, "You know, it's funny. Adam told me he just had started doing that. He told me he made $300 and 25 cents the first week." So I asked him, "Who gave you a quarter?" And he said, "All of them." So there's the bad joke. But anyway, so I'm back. Today, boy, I'll tell you what. I have. There haven't been many places that have been kind of blah to me in terms, because usually people make it great, and I've run across a few towns and a few situations which weren't the most appealing, but I've tried not to bash or trash any place I've been. I've been appreciative and thankful for where I've been. But I'll tell you what, after the walk from Barstow down to Victorville and being in that section of Barstow, that whole, I'm not a desert type of guy. I give credit to anybody that chooses to live out here, at least up there, because it's a choice. And man, I think I'd go out of my mind. So anyway, I left Barstow this morning. I met these great guys. They gave me a ride a couple miles to a mini mart. Got to meet the Rays, 3 Rays in one vehicle, 3 Rays. So here's where I kind of got goofy. I tried to have some fun. So when I left the travel mart, the highway was right there, but I was told I couldn't walk on the highway. I'd get picked up, and didn't want to do that at this point in time. So now I'm faced with, and if I'm repeating myself, I apologize. Sometimes people only hear me on YouTube, sometimes on Facebook. I think I live streamed this, or maybe I didn't even live stream it. I YouTubed it because live stream wouldn't work. Anyway, I had a choice of going up a couple miles that way and a couple miles over this way, or walking through the desert. So I said I can be practical, or I can go on this little journey. So I was going to put a live stream out to a vote, but I didn't get a chance to live stream it. But I did get one vote. Kelly, thank you. She said go on the journey through the jungle, or through the desert. So I can blame it on her now. Anyway, as I was starting to do that, I uncovered this little commune of like 4 homeless guys, which was a little alarming. But I went on the journey across this desert anyway, dragging. I thought it was going to be real hard scrabbling. It was a lot of the ways, but there was a lot of soft dirt too. So I'm dragging my bag through it. But the first hiccup I had was that as I started to go directly in the direction I wanted to go, it was fenced off. There was some kind of town, county, large fenced off area. So I walked around the fence hoping it would end, and it did, and I kept going. And what was weird is, as I was talking to friends tracking me, it actually showed up as roads on the road, on the map, but there were no roads. It was literally just desert. And you could see that the cars went down these couple of little paths, and I thought they were county. Maybe they are roads, but there's no street signs. It's just barren, just desolate. So, I kept going across and hoping I'd find 66 eventually, and I did. Before I did, in the distance, I saw a couple of people, a couple of figures. You don't know what they are. Out in the desert, anything can happen. Maybe they felt the same way about me. So we kept walking towards each other, and I stopped and spoke to these two folks, and really great people, and in fact ended up saving, not my life, I don't want to be that dramatic, but saving me. I am just covered in sand grit. So it came to be that I was talking about the area. They lived out there, and it seems, if I understood them correctly, they lived in a tent, you know, around the ways. But what I noticed was that I had dropped the bag of provisions somewhere along my ride, bouncing around the desert, of water and things like that. So I had no water, no food, and from what I can tell by the map, there was nothing for miles. So I talked to these folks, and they both had like half a bottle of water they gave me, which I'm so forever grateful for them. In fact, I probably should have taken a picture, and I think I was so worked up about not having the provisions that I forgot to do my usual journey part where I take a picture and share my story with them. They gave me the water and said, hey, about 12, 14 miles up, I'd run across a town with some stuff in it. Now, I don't know that they've been there. As it turns out, that town was about 23 miles away. So now I'm walking along Route 66, literally in the lane of traffic because there's no shoulder. Pulling my tote, tripping on it every 6 seconds. I don't know why. Someone has to explain this to me. Why is it that I cannot pull my tote with my right hand? Are my legs that bow-legged on one side that I keep smacking into my leg, or is my one arm longer than... On my left side, I do it pretty reasonably easily. On my right side, 3 steps, I'm smacking into my leg. It's the most frustrating thing. So now, honestly, my left arm for 6 hours is dead from pulling this cart. This is just the little things that happen out there. I'm sharing with you guys, just sharing, not trying to whine. Anyway, no water. I thought I'd be able to make it, and I was spitting sand basically. I was trying to develop saliva in my mouth, and I was struggling with it. And I knew I was going, and it was getting later in the afternoon, and every time I looked up, it looked like I was going nowhere. If you were tracking me, you saw that I was kind of going nowhere. Then a really interesting thing happened, and I take things to a deeper level. So up, down the road, on the left side was this small car, which I thought was abandoned. I thought the car was abandoned. And ironically, there was just one tree, one thick bush that this car was in the shade of. And I didn't put 2 and 2 together as I walked up. So after walking many miles, I see that there's a man in the front seat. And I said, sir, can you tell me, where the nearest, how close I am to the nearest gas station, restaurant, food, anything to get some water? I have no water. And he was a Spanish gentleman, had a thick accent. And he said, you still have, he goes, I'm from Victorville. That's, another 18 miles. You got like 13 miles to the nearest thing. It's not around. I said, I thought it was only about 2 or 3. He says, no. And as I look over, he's got a person sleeping in the front seat. It was his wife, this little bitty woman, seat back, just sleeping comfortably. And I had met this man. I didn't know this man. He gets out of his car and gives me 2 waters from the back of his car. And he says, I take you. And I said, no. I said, I can't do that to you. Your wife's sleeping. He says, no, it's okay. I take you. So Moses, his name is, gets out of the car, opens the back door, starts to move stuff. He's so tiny that as the driver, I'm 6'4" in the back seat and have plenty of leg room. But this gentleman didn't know me. He actually said, I see you for a mile walking up. I wonder what you're doing. And I'm not very good with accents, by the way. So here I am, parched, and you know what, guys, this is about a journey of meeting people. I had met anybody for 6 hours. I said, okay, off we went. So he takes me up to the mini mart and drops me off. I fill up this tank with gas. He says, just put $10 in. I said, well, I'll fill it up. So I went and put $20 in. He didn't take 20. His little car filled up with just like $15. So this gentleman saved me 13 miles of walking in the dead heat, but got me water. Didn't even know who I was. Gave me a hug. Said, God bless, good luck. And it's just, first of all, that just human element. That's what I was talking about, humanity on this journey, and people reaching out to complete strangers. He had no fear of me. At one point it was funny, we're driving, I guess his wife wakes up, and she's a bitty person, and she looks up, and I've got to be twice the size of her, literally, and she looks up. Here's a strange man in your back seat, twice the size of you, and I don't know if she spoke English or not. She didn't say a word. She just looked at me with kind of this little shocked look on her face and just moved forward. Um, so anyway, at one point, he got me to town. I got him some gas, and I was able to get situated and get closer. Still not quite where I want to be tonight, but I'm close enough to where I need to be. And again, I wouldn't have done it without this gentleman. I had people blowing up my phone that care about me. No water, I'm worried. I'm going to call the police and have them come out and check on you. You can see where I'm at with my tracker. But didn't mean to get anybody worried. But as I said, the journey is about meeting people. But it dawned on me as I was speaking to Moses with the accent, I didn't ask if he's a citizen. I didn't ask if he's